Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. But today, as we've been doing since the last couple of days, we are going to highlight the visit of our Premier Shehbaz Sharif Sahab to the People's Republic of China. It has been a very important visit, a very lucrative one as far as enhancing the relationship between the two countries. Pakistan and China have been time-tested friends. Iron brothers is what a lot of people call us. Nevertheless, China has proven time and again that it has Pakistan's back whenever Pakistan has needed it, one way or the other, whether it be at the FATF, whether it be on different international fora, by siding with Pakistan on important regional, international and national issues. China is that friend that one would always want to have, and our Premier Shehbaz Sharif Saab has the unique opportunity also to have been invited by his Chinese counterpart Li Keqiang to come to the People's Republic of China after the third time nomination of President Xi Jinping as the head of the People's Republic of China after the 20th CPEC. Now, the fact remains that the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is one of the highlights as far as the relationship between the both countries is concerned, and that is what Pakistan also wants, a robust economic relationship and partnership between Pakistan and China. That and much more were discussed during the important meetings that were held in China between Pakistan and the Chinese leadership. More in the following report.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is on a maiden two-day visit to China with eventual aim of deepening ironclad friendship and revitalizing flagship projects. During bilateral meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, the two leaders agreed to strengthen the strategic partnership between Islamabad and Beijing, as well as multilateral cooperation in various areas, including the CPEC. During the meeting, the Chinese President and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif discussed broad-based cooperation in economy and investment and exchanged views on regional and global developments. Later in the day, Prime Minister Shehbaz met Chinese investors and businessmen, where he encouraged Chinese investment in renewable energy projects, including the government's 10,000 megawatt solar project and wind power turbines. Leading Chinese companies demonstrated keen interest to invest in Pakistan's solar, water and other infrastructure projects, as Prime Minister assured outstanding security arrangements for Chinese workers. Premier Shehbaz Sharif also met Chinese Premier Li Keqiang at Great Hall of the People, where Prime Minister was accorded Guard of Honor. Bilateral understanding was reached to unlock economic potential of CPEC, which renders Pakistan as the fulcrum of regional integration. Amid growing challenges in the world, the visit will deepen the ironclad friendship between the two countries, which will also push the flagship China-Pakistan Economic Corridor under the Belt and Road Initiative to a new high level.
To highlight this very important visit and of course the robust relationship that exists between the two friendly countries and how that is going to move forward in the right direction due to this visit of our Premier Shehbaz Sharif Saab to the People's Republic of China, we've been joined by three guests. Online, we have Dr. Salma Malik, who's a foreign affairs expert. Dr. Salma, it's a pleasure to have you. It's always a healthy discussion that we have on strategic and foreign relations whenever you are here. And in the studios, we've got two very interesting guests with whom I've had an excellent interaction in the past as well. On my right is Khalid Taimur Akram, Saab, Executive Director of PRCCSF. Thank you very much, Khalid Saab. It's a pleasure. And our second guest is Dr. Farah Naz, who is an international relations expert. Dr. Farah, always a pleasure as well. And to see the both of you together in the studios is indeed an excellent opportunity to discuss important issues. Khalid Taimur Akram Saab, when you talk of the relationship between Pakistan and China, as Dr. Salma Malik said, a lot of people take that for granted, and we need to make the right moves with the right energy in order to make China understand that we are moving at par with them as far as the robust relationship between the two countries is concerned. CPEC is a very important topic. A lot of questions were raised in the past as far as the way CPEC was moving forward. But now, of course, there's a huge, how should I say, robust or turbo speed that has been now put to different projects in the second phase of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. That green and clean energy, two important aspects that were discussed during the visit of Premier Shehbaz Sharif Saab to China. What do you foresee as far as A, CPEC, and B, clean and green energy projects that have been discussed in detail and a lot of enthusiasm has been seen from the Chinese side is concerned?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I feel that it's really an honor for our Prime Minister and for the Pakistani government that we were the first one to be invited to China after the grand 20th CPC Congress, in which President Xi Jinping got elected for the third consecutive term as the General Secretary. And after that, that just happened 1 week back, and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is the first head of the state and head of the government who visited China. So it speaks of the volumes of importance which the Chinese government and especially President Xi Jinping gives to Pakistan. As regards to CPEC is concerned, yes, the Chinese government in the past had some concerns regarding the pace of the CPEC, but as we know that this word Shehbaz speed was given to Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif by the Chinese people who were working with him in Punjab once he was the chief minister. So the Chinese government has got a fair knowledge of the speed of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, the way he is basically a very good administrator, the way he had been administrating the projects, the CPEC projects in Punjab. So one, they are very happy with the pace which now the government has adopted. Two, yes, China has included many new projects in the CPEC, and they really want to connect Central and South Asia together, and China has agreed to extend CPEC towards Afghanistan, and which ultimately will be connecting Central Asia to Pakistan and to Gwadar port. Another thing very important, as you said, clean energy. Yes, China has done away with the coal power plants, and they also want Pakistan to do away with that. And once we will be doing away with the coal power, so China will be helping us in the development of more nuclear power plants or hydropower plants. China is very much enthusiastic in the development of the Diamir Bhasha Dam, and our Prime Minister has given them assurance not only on the security but also the problems facing in the land acquisition and other things. In addition to that, our Prime Minister and President Xi Jinping, they have agreed that all the CPEC project will be finished, and the first phase, which is likely to finish up by 2025, will be on time. And I'm sure that with this visit, I'm sure that Chinese government must have got the taste of the speed which Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is working. And I consider it as a very, very successful visit, and even the protocol, because we know there's a new surge of COVID in China, and normally they do not give the guard of honors and all those things to the foreign visitors.
Our Premier was given one.
Our Premier was given a special guard of honor just to acknowledge the friendship between Pakistan and China. And I think China has given a very clear message to our adversaries and to rest of the world that how much importance China gives to Pakistan.
I think the messaging is very important. The whole timing of it and the messaging of it all, that China is telling to the whole world, listen, Pakistan, we have its back, come what may, you can do whatever you want, but we'll always side by Pakistan. Khalid Taimur Akram Saab, in your point of view, what kind of practical steps now that another ground has been laid down as far as the relationship between Pakistan and China is concerned after the visit of Shehbaz Sharif Saab, and now he's on his way back, of course, from China to Pakistan. What practical steps can both China and Pakistan take to open a new window of opportunity for both the countries as far as manufacturing and supply chain networking is concerned? In this new arena of global geostrategy, we see that lacking.
Yes, that's a quite interesting question, because another year or so we will be entering into the second phase of the CPEC, and in fact the complete BRI project which China has started, it has now expanded to almost 181 countries. So the completion time is by 2030, but for CPEC the tentative completion time is by 2025. So what next? The next is basically development of the special economic zones, bringing various industries close to the Indian Ocean, which means that since we are in the region vis-a-vis the Central Asia and the landlocked countries, So we are the nearest to the Arabian Sea. So a lot of industry will be shifted from China and Central Asia to this part of the world in Pakistan, and the special economic zones will get developed. So we will see, we have already witnessed that in last 20 years, a lot of European industry has shifted to China because of cheap labor, cheap raw material. So that industry is likely to shift towards Pakistan, and China also wants that the neighboring countries of China should be benefited from the bigger industry which has already shifted from European side to this place. So now the Europeans and the other countries will also have their stakes in the security of Pakistan, because we have been constantly telling the world about whatever we have been facing since last 20 years. So once the international brands, they will have their factories over here, so their countries will automatically have their attention towards us. And let me also remind you over here that Pakistan is the only country in the world which has overcome complete terrorism, which has done their counter-terrorism without any foreign boots on ground. Take the example of Sri Lanka, take the example of African countries. Everywhere UN forces have been going there to establish law and order in the terrorism. But we have done away with terrorism with our own military and with our own forces. We have given maximum lives. More than 80,000 plus soldiers and civilians have got shahadat in this in the counter-terrorism. So what I feel is this: in coming days, Pakistan's geostrategic value will be increasing. We are seeing that a lot of Chinese automobile industry coming towards Pakistan. We are seeing that a lot of, in times to come, we will see that even the Central Asians are interested to invest in Pakistan, because they see Pakistan as their window towards the warm waters. And I've been talking to various countries in Central Asia, and they always give one very interesting example. They say that we are not close to the Arabian Sea or the Indian Ocean, but the railway line which is being now made
ML1.
from ML1 and extending till Uzbekistan also.
There's also the Karachi Circular Railway
Yes,
Project.
and Karachi Circular Railway Project. So they see, the Central Asian countries see this railway line as their Arabian Sea, because this railway line is ultimately going to connect through Afghanistan with the Central Asia. So for them, this railway line is the their seaport is this railway line, because it will connect them with this. So I see that now as we are entering on in the second phase, so Pakistan's importance in terms of not only geostrategic but the industrial towards the industrial development side, our importance is going to increase manifolds.
All right. Khalid Saab, when you talk of, going forward and making the best of this opportunity, because of course we need to do that, there is also the fact that there is a certain demand in the Chinese market. And for that, we need to also train our youth, because Pakistan is in a huge majority as far as our youth is concerned. Do you feel we need to also go on a fast foot planning as far as training our youth is concerned in the right directions for the fields that are needed by China, so as to A, create more job opportunities for the Pakistan youth, and B, strengthen our economy?
Yes, that's quite an interesting question, because I go a lot in various universities in Pakistan, and I hear this question that what's in it for us once we talk about CPEC. And I always try to tell the youth and everybody that CPEC has got various stages. Now we are going through the stage of construction. So at this point in time, we need skilled labor, skilled manpower like engineers and others to build up this infrastructure.
And we also need people who understand the Chinese language.
Understand the Chinese language. And now once we are going to go to the second stage, we need a service industry, because in Pakistan, we do not understand the implication of having a strong service industry. We have to have more hotels, we have to have more tourism, we have to have more people who can deal with town planning. We have to have more people who understand how to build up industrial area. So the service industry is the next, and the third phase is once the industrialization and other things will start, then other things would come. One, right now, there is no system in our universities where the youth can be guided, and I would strongly suggest that the government and at the HEC level, some kind of the guidelines should be issued so that our youth can be trained in that way. And another thing we must understand is this, that once the CPEC projects will start in Pakistan, then the competition of our youth will not be among themselves. They will be competing with the international market. So we must understand what is the requirement of the international market. If you go to any European countries, even to China or into Central Asia, over there you would find 19 and 20 years boys and girls working in various companies, getting knowledge of various companies. But in our country, the trend is, okay, let's finish the education first and then go to the practical field. But once these people will be competing against the youth of various countries, so they would lag behind. So we need to change our curriculums in a way. Yes, Chinese language is one, but complete Central Asia, they speak their own languages and Russian language. So we need to establish multiple languages center in Pakistan. Also, we are very far behind in our lawfare, because we must understand this thing that all the countries who will be connecting through the CPEC, they have a completely different legal system, because we were previously part of the British colonial system, and all our laws which were made from 1947 till now more or less have some kind of impact from the British laws. But in Central Asia, in China, in those parts of the world which are going to get connected through CPEC, they have a completely different legal system. They have a completely different arbitration system, because they were a part of the Soviet Union. So we must understand their laws. We must understand that what
and
kind
adapt
of,
ourselves accordingly.
And adopt ourselves accordingly, because here the situation is quite interesting, that those 10 countries would not be adopting our laws because they will be using Pakistan as a transit country. So one major advantage which we are going to have very soon is that we will be the major transit hub of the world. So all those countries who are the major transit hub, what they have to do: one, you have to build lots of hotels. Second, you have to build your strong service industry. Third, you have to train your manpower to adopt the cultural shock which they will be facing once the people of so many countries and the trade line would start off. So we have to prepare our generation for that in terms of legal, in terms of financial. Right now we do not have any banking channels with these countries. We need to understand their banking system. We need to have a strong financial system with these countries. Right now, Uzbekistan and Tajikistan are just our next door neighbors, but we are doing all our trade through third country because there is no
so there needs to be evolution of different mechanisms that Pakistan is involved in order for it to create a more robust relationship with all the countries involved, all the partners involved, including of course China, as far as the future of CPEC is concerned. Pakistan and China, ladies and gentlemen, are moving towards a more robust relationship through the China-Pakistan economic corridor. China regards Pakistan as a true friend, Pakistan regards China as a true friend, and China has had Pakistan's back many a times, and Pakistan has always looked up to China in good and the bad times. This is the time when that relationship is going to take a turn for the better. A lot of questions arise, a lot of challenges arise as well, and I hope both Pakistan and China can come up to these challenges and can show the world that together we can make the world and the region a stronger, a better, a more robust place to live in. And for the peoples as well who are facing economic deprivation, they can come out of it if there is the will and the possibilities that a project like the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor gives to the people in Pakistan, in China, and all the regions that want to collaborate in it. Thank you so very much, Dr. Salma Malik. Thank you very much, Khalid Taimur Akram Saab. Thank you very much, Dr. Farah Nasr, to have been here. It was indeed a great show that I had today. It was a great interaction, a very healthy discussion on different aspects of it, and that is what it is. Allah Hafiz.